The 49ers drafted 5 players this year. In round 1 with pick 14, they drafted South Carolina defensive tackle Javon Kinlaw. In round 1 with pick 25, they drafted Arizona State wide receiver Brandon Ayuk. In round 5 with pick 153, they drafted West Virginia tackle Kolten Mikheev. In round 6 with pick 190, the 49ers drafted Georgia tight end Charlie Werner. And in round 7 with pick 217, the 49ers drafted Tennessee wide receiver Jajuan Jennings. Here's what you need to know about them. Kinlaw is going to play DeForest Buckner's position, defensive tackle. Coaches call it 3 technique, in between the offensive guard and tackle. In the B gap, Kinlaw is going to play Buckner's position, even maybe wear Buckner's number. He's supposed to be Buckner's replacement. He's a very solid player, but when I watch Kinlaw play, I don't see DeForest Buckner. I see Arik Armstead. I think Kinlaw and Armstead have a lot in common. Both extremely powerful players. Both have terrific bull rushes and can push offensive linemen straight back. Neither one had a lot of sacks in college. Both of them had issues finishing plays as youngsters. Armstead improved as he got older. Kinlaw could as well. I wouldn't expect him to hit the ground running the way DeForest Buckner did or ever really become Buckner, because Buckner is a bit of a one-of-a-kind. He's special. Armstead is very good, not necessarily special. Kinlaw's in that very good category. Brandon Ayuk, round 1. He's replacing Emmanuel Sanders. But their skill sets are different. Sanders is more of a down-the-field guy who lined up in the slot a lot. Brandon Ayuk is an outside receiver who is not as fast down the field as Emmanuel Sanders, but better after the catch. Specializes in catching screens and short passes and stuff over the middle and taking it for long touchdowns. Reminds me a little bit of Hakeem Nicks, if you remember him 10 years ago with the Giants, won a Super Bowl as a 1A wide receiver next to Victor Cruz. Long arms. Not the biggest wide receiver, but long arms, can make acrobatic leaping catches over the middle, and also very elusive with the ball in their hands. Hakeem Nicks was really good, got injured young and never really, and that ended his career pretty much. Round 5, Kolten Mikheev. He was a tackle in college, but I believe the Niners envision him as a guard for them. He played guard at the Senior Bowl. The Niners need a right guard. They have Tom Compton, who's more of a veteran backup insurance plan who knows the system but isn't really talented enough to start. The Niners have Daniel Brunskill, who played well in stretches last year, but you don't just hand him the job. You want him to have to compete for it, and he will compete with Kolten Mikheev. Round 6, Charlie Werner, a tight end. He replaces the blocking tight end. He fills that role for the 49ers. Originally in 2017, it was Logan Paulson. Then it was Garrett Selleck. Last year it was Levine Toilolo. It's not Ross Dwelley. Ross Dwelley is the pass-catching specialist tight end, the move tight end. And he's very good at that. The Niners didn't draft anyone to compete with him at that position. They drafted someone to replace Toilolo and Selleck. Werner, if you watch him, he played in the SEC, which is the most physical conference, on a run-first team, pretty much the best running attack in college football year in and year out, Georgia. And he was their George Kittle. He was their do-everything blocker. The Niners are going to use him in very creative ways, and I think he could probably even do some of the things that Kyle Juszczyk does for them, meaning line up in the backfield and make creative blocks on the move. Round 7, Jajuan Jennings. I mentioned earlier that Ayuk is more of an outside receiver, and he's not really going to replace what Sanders did in the slot, although he will replace Sanders in the starting lineup. Jajuan Jennings is a slot receiver. He's bigger than Sanders. He's a big slot receiver. And it seems pretty clear that Shanahan is counting on someone other than Debo and Ayuk to be in the slot this year. It could be Jennings. It could be Trent Taylor. It could be Jalen Hurd. But Jennings was a slot receiver in college. He's kind of like the Anquan Bolden style of a slot receiver. Not super quick and shifty, but very tough and physical and strong. And he just kind of out-muscles people for catches like he's a power forward out-muscling people for rebounds. That's the kind of player he is. So he can fit a role. He may not even make the team. The Niners have a Super Bowl caliber roster, and it's not a given that a 7th-round pick will make the team, but he'll be competing with Jalen Hurd and Trent Taylor for the slot position role. That's what you need to know about the 49ers' 5 draft picks of 2020.